Welcome back to the show, everybody. Coach Mike, go ahead and tell us what it is, man.
Yeah, so as of right now, the Detroit Lions are 3-1 in the NFC North. You know what? If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that we would be anywhere near 500 in the NFC North, I would have took it. 3-3, I would have took it. But as of right now, Detroit Lions have an opportunity to finish 5-1 or 4-2 in the NFC North in year two of this rebuild, and that's a good place to sit in, especially with the playoff race being this close as it is. You never know what team might slip up another game, and it might come down to that conference record, to the divisional record, man. It might come down to the NFC North, NFC East, NFC West, NFC South division record, and the Lions sit in a good place where they could finish 5-1. That way them boys playing against Carolina, going to that frozen tundra, don't seem so good, but but yeah, man, I like it, man. I like the place where we're going. I like the fact that our conference record is as good as it is, and you know what? If you would have, like I said, if you would have told me this at the beginning of the year, hey, I would have said take it. Even though we lost last game and it kind of, the hopes kind of went just a little bit. It still feels good to say, you know what, we the kings of the North. So what do y'all think about the Detroit Lions and their 3-1 standing right now in the conference, man? I mean, it got to feel good.
The only scenario that the division record will matter is if Detroit and Green Bay battle for that last spot in Week 18. But it's not just that. The Lions have to beat the Bears, and the Packers are going to have to win next week, or to beat the Minnesota Vikings. So it will put that means that Detroit and Detroit will be 8-8, and the Packers will be 8-8 as well heading into that game. If not, if the Packers lose, they'll be 7-9 and we'll be 8-8 going into that game. Basically, the tiebreaker will go to the Lions, period. Right. So even if both teams finish with the same record, 8-9, I don't think that will get either team into the playoffs. But if it did, the Lions were on the tiebreaker. Why? Because they would end up with probably the same divisional record, but the Lions win in a point differential in the division because they outscored their opponents more. So they got more points for than they got points against. But in that case, man, it would take a lot of help from teams losing badly for us to have both teams to have a losing record for one to get in the playoffs. For me, it's gonna have to be the Lions are gonna have to win out. They're gonna have to finish 9-8, and that's gonna be the thing. That's the division record is gonna help them out regardless because of the fact that they are so much. Like the Packers are 2-2 and the Lions are 3-1. So but as far as they own a tiebreaker for point differential, it's a whole bunch of BS math to go along with that. But just to go ahead and make it do what it do, the Lions gonna have to beat Chicago and then beat Green Bay. It just is what it is. Your room for error went out the window on Saturday on Christmas Eve when you let the Panthers whoop your ass all up and down 95 or 77, excuse me. Right, that goes right into the Charlotte Stadium. I mean, you just kind of you left it out there. I mean, so you're gonna have to win out. But I agree with you. It does feel good though to see the Lions at 3-1 in the division. I wouldn't have picked that. Especially when we were 1-6, I would have thought we would have been had this really tied for the best divisional record because the Vikings are 3-1 in the division also. So, I mean, of course they know they've already won the division clinched the division, but as far as a divisional record, I wouldn't have thought we'd have had the same record as the Vikings at this point in the season. Nah, but. I mean, that shows a marginal. I mean, it shows really good improvement. You look at where we were at last year this time, and to be at 7 wins right now, and to still be a very young team. We're still a very young team in the league. I think we probably start the most first and second year players in the league, and Could it be better right now? Yes. But could it be worse? A lot worse. But what you got, LL?
Yeah, and this is just a shot at somebody who was trying to talk junk to me about the Lions over the weekend. And one of the things they said was like, all y'all players young. And I'm like, dude, like you know better. Like this person actually knows football. Like, man, you know better. Like this.
Is that that's a compliment?
That's what I'm saying.
Not
So
a
I'm like, man,
diss.
I don't even want to talk about this no more with you. But another thing, shout out to Coach Mike and Slim Thug. He said Kings of the North. You know, shout out if you know, you know. You know, shout out to Slim Thug. But yeah, that'd be great. You know, I feel like we could finish 5-1. We definitely can. They got to go out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's all types of scenarios to get us in the playoffs. I know that's not the question about getting in the playoffs. I would have liked it if we could have walked into the front ways, walked into the playoffs, and not back into the playoffs. If we make it, we're gonna need some help and all the other kind of wizardry. But yeah, it'd be great for the Lions to go ahead and get that the division record. Like y'all say, you know, second year of a rebuild. I like that nobody can be that mad at that part of it anymore. You know, it was like when all other things couldn't be said is, we look at the rebuild, we so behind in the rebuild. Nah, you can't really say that. I said we bought on pace. I won't say we ahead or anything like that. I said we bought on pace. If we could have got that big win on Saturday, that would have been a big big thing. But you know, ifs and nuts with cherries and butts and all that other stuff. Cherries and nuts and all that stuff.
Man.
So
yeah,
I do believe though that I will say actually that we are a step ahead of where we were when Jim Schwartz took over the team because this team is so young. That team was also young too, but this team is younger, and we're a step ahead of where we were. Just because they finished 6-10, we're 7-8 right now. We're potential to be 8-9 or 9-8. And the roster is just so young, and the defense is building. I know when Jim Schwartz was the coach, we was like, oh man, we came into the season like, oh, this D line is gonna be ferocious. This defense gonna be ferocious because of Schwartz, you know, his prior experience with Tennessee. So I think just all the surprises and the fact that we're figuring out this team as the season goes on, I feel like we are about a step and a half ahead of where we were when Jim Schwartz was the coach.
Hey, to hear what myself and Ella had to say about the Lions divisional record, tune in to the full version of today's Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by Detroit Lions on the Prowl, right here on your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors.